Do you need to get your recording up, Brock?
Yeah, I have recording now.
Okay, nice.
Fuck you.
Okay. Okay, anyway, previously on Quarrels of Quadruin, we we got some permission to use the like cool portal to get back to Lowri's house from Salsarine. And so we that dramatically cut down the length of the journey from 7 days to about 30 minutes, maybe even less. We said our farewells to Arthur, ruminated on the fact that we may at some point meet again, and ended up going to dig the grave for Lowry's mother, who I don't currently remember the name of.
Rainier.
Rainier. That's it. And so after that, we dug the grave, which I dramatically cut down the time that we'd need to spend doing that using mold earth. So that useless cantrip at least got something done for once.
Hooray for poignancy.
And so after that, we kind of spent a bit of time just resting up at Lowry's house, just kind of celebrating her father's freedom and survival. And yeah, after that, we decided it was time to start heading for the library, and we got told that we weren't actually meant to go back to South Ream for that. We were meant to kind of turn off on a bit of an odd path and meet a guide after about a day's travel. So we went off and we got attacked by a couple of trolls. We left. Kai used his new spell, Haste, to haste the two melee boys of the party. And we found out that that's overpowered as shit. But the orcs, we were finding it a bit hard to kill the orcs because they kept doing this slightly annoying thing and coming back to life.
Yeah, I was the orc.
Yeah.
They were the trolls.
Oh yeah, the trolls. Sorry.
Wait, aren't you just half?
To be fair, your coming back to life is also kind of annoying from the enemy's perspective.
That's true.
It's not me coming back to life. It's me not dying.
So yeah, we came with an alternate strategy that rather than fighting these beings that could evidently have some sort of regenerative power and come back to life, we adopted the classic strategy of he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
The classic Joestar secret technique.
And yeah, we kind of rode on for a bit. The people who I'd hasted ended up getting a bit tired because it turns out that spell comes with like withdrawal symptoms. And yeah, we ended up sleeping underneath a tree, and Kai, being very suspicious of trees after earlier events, decided to check whether the tree could talk. And well, it turns out it could, and it told us that it was the guide that we were seeking, and promised to protect us for the night after I showed it my library pass. So we went to sleep under the cool tree, and that is where we ended off last session.
Mm-hmm. Under the tree.
Oh yeah. Was the shopping in South Stream last session, or was that the session before?
That was the session before.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. Okay, yeah. So that was last session. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You met. For future reference, the okay. Well, so the night passes with you all getting a very good rest, particularly Nor and Gadron.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun rises, its orange rays shining through the forest trees, little specks of light shining on your faces. As you wake up, Sherman, the treant who had offered to protect you for the night, Also wakes up and gives himself a bit of a stretch. Now he is fully, and you can see he's got basically tree trunks for legs.
Right.
It's basically the copyright-free version of Ents from Lord of the Rings, because that's literally what they are.
How big is he compared to us?
Let me have a look.
Is Gadron as tall as his leg?
Not tall, they. No, it's a huge size, so pretty. So I'd say Gadron goes, up to about just above his ankle. He's very big.
Oh
He's
wow!
the size
Yeah,
of a
that
very
is
large
big.
tree. I mean, I literally call him Sherman because that's the name of like the biggest tree in the world.
Okay, so yes,
Gadron would love to fight him if he were hostile.
But he is not. He is friendly. He is a guy.
He is good tree.
And sure enough, he's waking up, his leaves shaking, some of them falling from his head and landing on top of you guys. And he turns and goes, "Well, I suppose you must be ready to embark."
Indeed, I am. I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm quite eager, in fact.
Alright, where are we going?
To the library, I suppose.
Well, in that case, all you must do is follow me.
That sounds so menacing.
He begins to walk parallel to the path you guys were originally on, but still staying within the thick part of the forest. You kind of have to maneuver your way around the various roots and branches that block your way. For him, it's no issue because he's just bigger than all of them.
Also, I updated map size comparison for reference.
He's not a permanent party member. Calm down.
Imagine if he was.
I don't know. I feel like the Trient race is a little overpowered.
Maybe.
I mean, 16 natural AC. That's ridiculous.
Imagine if they.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I will follow in the wake of the destruction he presumably leaves.
He's actually very good at staying, being very careful. Well, he knows exactly where to step. You do find there are some like round areas that are previous footsteps he's used throughout the years, centuries, millennia. You're not sure.
Yeah, Gadron.
Until eventually,
Gadron thinks in his head, why does he need to guide us if he's just guiding us down the paved path?
You're not on the path. You're sort of next to the path. And then at some point he goes, "Now, over here is where you're going to need me." He towards a large willow tree. And in case you don't know what a willow tree looks like, I'm just gonna quick copy paste. Yeah, this is perfect. Copy and paste.
You cannot paste this image for it is explicit.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
That is what a willow tree is. There's one that's bigger and wider than even he is.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm going to very briefly need you to step through these branches. And once you do not move.
Gadron just...
Who'd like to go in first?
I'll do so. I'll go in first. You know, this is my idea and all.
Yeah, Gadron looks at Nor, and then shrugs and follows Kai.
I kind of look up at the Sherman here and so right if Barnaby comes, I point towards the horse.
He thinks for a moment. Thinks the cart. Well, the tree isn't alive. Now you're just getting sassy.
It's still a useful reference.
Okay, at this point, Sherman thinks for a bit and goes, the cart would have to stay behind, but I suppose the horse can accompany you.
Well, we're not carrying anything. We're not carrying anything too important in the cart anymore. So
No
I'll
more.
go ahead and unhook Barnaby from the wagon and walk him into the willow with me.
One question: do vagabonds and brigands pass by here often? We wouldn't want to end up with our cart stolen, and we already encountered a couple on the way.
On this side, I have seen a fair handful. But on the other side of this tree, I assure you, no mere mortal has made it past without my help.
I see, but well, that doesn't really answer my concern about the cart not being stolen.
Do not worry. He clicks his fingers, and 2 trees come to life and stand around it. They shall protect it while we are gone.
Seems like a useful power to have.
Indeed. And not to worry, where we are going, it will feel... Here, it will only be gone for about 5 minutes. You'll see when we get there.
I'll just furrow my eyebrow.
Gadron he starts to say something, stops, and then starts thinking.
It will hopefully make a little more sense once we cross over, but I'm not too sure for your mind. Still. Are you going to cross over? Going to go through the willow tree?
I will do so, yeah.
Yep.
Alright.
Then I'll mosey on through with Barnaby.
Yeah, Gadron, as he's thinking, just casually saunters behind.
You step through, and for a minute, your vision is almost entirely obscured by thick mounds of leaves and branches that just cover your faces as you try and push through. And it seems to be pushing on for like a full minute before you get to the other side. And when you do, instead of the usual browns and golds, the air now has light blues and turquoises, with the occasional pink lights and grey mists filling the forest. Every once in a while, you can hear the sounds of high-pitched laughter. It comes from sort of all over the place.
Do I recognize like the voice or anything in any way?
It's lots and lots of voices. And you don't exactly recognize it, but you can tell that they sound a lot like children.
Is Sherman
I'm a fan of this.
Sherman follows soon right behind you.
I'll just
As
kind
you're
of turn
looking
to
around,
him.
the tips of all the branches of the various trees seem to glow a small light. And the leaves seem to continuously change color.
I'll kind of just turn to him. What are those voices?
Those would be the various pixies and sprites playing as usual.
Yeah, Gadron. Gadron just shrugs.
My dear friends, I welcome you to the Feywild. Here, time is merely an illusion. Space, a suggestion. This is a realm parallel to the one you know. He starts to continue walking along as he says this.
Tom, just a question. How much do I know about Feywild? Because I speak Sylvan. I don't know how it translates to like knowledge of the place.
Roll an Arcana check.
I'm not even bothering. I only know the sea.
And I know next to nothing.
Maybe when we
Yeah.
maybe 20.
20.
Maybe when we head to the elemental plane of water, right?
No metagaming. But yes, you do in fact know of this place. You've read about it in a few books. You've read quite a bit about certain alternate planes to where you live. Where most mortals live is the material plane.
Yeah.
And here is the Feywild, where magic is at its most powerful. Creatures of the arcane live here. And this is often said to be the main resting place of both Arcanea and Proscenius.
Ooh, that's like my two gods.
I know. This is, of all the planes, this is actually the one you've focused on the most.
Yeah.
Because just the colors in the seen in the pictures and the various creatures that live there have fascinated you.
Yeah. I just look down at like my ring, just kind of like, so this is the place then. Magic.
Indeed.
Well, I suppose this could be the origin of my magic.
It is possible. But I do not know for sure. I am merely a guide. But follow, and do not lose me. As I said, space is a mere suggestion. Whole sceneries can change within a blink of an eye.
Shuddering, Gadron makes sure to keep Sherman in his vision.
Yeah. Wise choice.
I'll just look down at my ring. Are the runes on it reacting in any way to being in this magically enhanced place?
The runes, no. But the gem itself is glowing a brighter blue than it used to.
Ooh, okay.
It's even got the occasional pink in there.
I'll just kind of like hold it in wonder, just. And how long can we stay here?
I would not suggest too long. This place is known to drive mortal men insane with its nonsense. And as he says that, you do notice the path in front of you shimmers as trees suddenly completely change spots. As you back away, you notice the ground does seem to shimmer underneath your own feet, Gadron.
I'm just gonna hold a bit tighter to Barnaby here. Like,
yeah, Barnaby's just gonna press his head against you. Yeah, a lot of you are kind of freaked out, and
I'm just staring around in wonder, just like
I can't
I've read
speak for Night,
yeah,
but I imagine that they're pretty spooked themselves.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like just gazing around in awe. Just I've always read about this place, but I never imagined I might actually come here.
Isn't the world a surprising place?
It is. Yes, I suppose I also never imagined I'd let loose a bolt of energy and kill 2 men.
Well,
And I've done that
Even though-
several times.
well, we must go. Even if time moves much slower here. In fact, a year here is only a few minutes outside. But still, that is not an excuse to be dawdling.
No.
Fear not. Once we reach the library, things will be far more reasonable for you.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll follow along. I'm gonna kind of keep an eye out, trying to improve on my blindness. I'm just going to keep an eye out for anything I see that I find interesting, which I assume will be a lot in this place.
Yes, the colors alone are incredible. You sort of glimpse around, and you do see animals, some of them very similar to the ones on the material plane, but of colors that are... they stand out, to put it mildly. You notice a few pixies and sprites fly up to all of you. Very curious, seeing these large, non-wooden people enter their home. But they're not aggressive. They're just observing. Some of them land on your shoulders.
I'll say hello in Sylvan.
Their eyes kind of widen in surprise, knowing that you can speak their language. A couple of them just say, "Hi."
Yes, I still do.
Gadron is exceedingly unnerved and trying very desperately to keep in the same zip code as Sherman.
Trying to be within this... yeah. You're half tempted to just grab onto his leg and never let go at this point.
We found another thing that can terrify Gadron.
Yeah, fairies.
I think we could put this in a blanket under things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
As you go along, you do walk past what looks to be like a simple daffodil. Only as you get closer, you realize it's the size of a truck. And it blooms open, revealing what at first look like butterflies with the wings. But if you look a little closer, you notice that they are in fact small dragons.
Okay.
Gadron looks at Sherman and says, "How close are we to the library?"
Not far, not far.
Thinking to himself, Gadron notes that how unhelpful that is.
From the mist, approaching you are 2 horses. One with a horn on its head, the other wings. You've all pretty much heard of these.
Yeah.
Unicorn and a Pegasus. They both approach all of you. Give you a little sniff.
I'll point to the wings on the Pegasus. Barnaby, take notes.
Yeah, I'll just kind of
Barnaby
away
just
from Kai, but
glares
to
at you.
Barnaby. I'll just kind of address Barnaby. He's like, "Don't worry, I love you just the way you are." And I'll give him a little pat.
Barnaby just kind of nuzzles his head to Norm, and then immediately just shoots a massive glare at Kai.
Gadron's almost calmed seeing the unicorn and Pegasus approach because they at least somewhat make sense compared to what he's seen.
Yeah. Compared to compared to butterfly dragons and tiny people with wings.
and teleporting trees.
Exactly. It takes a few minutes of walking. You're unsure exactly how long, because every time you try and think about how long it's been, your mind just seems to blur. But sure enough, you soon reach a large blue building.
Gadron somewhat breathed a sigh of relief.
You see it somewhat in the distance, and as you approach, it suddenly appears right in front of you. Yes, it has a habit of doing that. He walks up the large steps and knocks on the door.
This might be an odd question, but is the library alive?
It is not the library, no, but the Feywild. Indeed.
Gadron has another shudder.
The door opens, revealing what looks like an elf, only with a much redder skin. A gentle disposition as she seems to glide across the floor. Sherman. I assume you're here to bring more visitors? Indeed, I am, Twilight. These are the 4 visitors that have been granted access by the mortal rulers of Salserene. It's been a while since they've granted permission.
Gadron just sort of weakly waves.
She looks at all of you. Yes. Kai, Gadron, Lowri, No. It is lovely to meet you. I am Twilight.
Barnaby.
What do you say?
She didn't mention Barnaby. Get wrecked, Barnaby. But yeah, well, it's an honor to meet you. I'll say in response and kind of extend a hand out.
She simply picks up her skirt and curtsies instead.
Gadron gets up from having fallen down to getting shocked by the library suddenly appearing.
Yeah. Yes. I have been foretold of your arrival. I'm glad you could make it so soon. Please.
It was my top priority.
Yes. So I heard. So I was told. Please follow me inside.
Yeah, I will do so very eagerly.
Gadron follows out a bit more cautiously.
Right, if Barnaby comes in, right?
He goes, well, of course. It would be hypocritical considering who works here.
Fair enough. I'll go ahead and walk in with Barnaby.
As you go in, the doors seem to automatically close, and Sherman begins to just sit outside, just waiting. He goes, well, welcome to Arcanea's library. The most detailed building of knowledge in the entire material plane. And,
Wait,
of course, by default, the greatest source of knowledge in Quadruin.
was this place actually built by Arcanea, or is that just the name?
Indeed, this is one of her sacred places. There is a version like this in the material plane, but it is far more simple.
My eyes just kind of widen at that. So we're in the realm of an actual god.
Indeed. This is one of the 8 most sacred places in Quadruin. If I remember correctly, you have been to a church of Grantol a few weeks back.
I don't know how you could have known that, but yes, we have.
This is a place of knowledge.
I suppose.
I am a servant of Arcanea herself. I am very much aware of what you have done.
Though it is certainly not. It certainly wasn't as grand as this place. It seemed quite run down.
Yes, well, you see, that place was merely built by mortals to honor him, which, while appreciated, does not have the same divine power.
Of course.
The true, most sacred area for Grantol is... well, it's not for me to say. I have not been informed myself. There are a few areas involving the other gods which even I do not know. But perhaps one of the books in the library can help you.
Perhaps. How does one navigate this place?
Well, first, she beckons you to a small reception desk. I'm just going to have to very briefly ask you to sign your names here, so that we know you have been.
Yeah, I will. Is there a pen provided?
Just speak your name.
Kai Yeltsin.
The names seem to just appear in a swirl of sparkles as ink just appears automatically on the paper. Now, onto you.
Wow.
She moves over to Gadron.
Gadron the Bookworm.
I'll just kind of turn to Gadron.
You see it writes down Gadron Drogaxon.
Well, Gadron. I don't think Gadron can read that. Or is it in Gadron?
Oh yeah, he can't read.
He can't, but the rest of you can.
I'll just kind of turn to him. I didn't know Trogatson was your last name.
I don't have a rash. Gadron has a dawning realization, and his face darkens a bit.
The library would seem to think otherwise. And I'll turn to Nor. I think you probably know what to say.
Suppose it doesn't matter if I say otherwise.
True.
Go up to it and Nor. And I kind of look back and Barnaby.
Underneath is you just see Nor. No surname. And then underneath, Sir Barnaby III of the Great Stables of Prospax.
Sir Barnaby the Third.
And I assume Lowri would also do the same.
Yeah.
Unless there's a secret backstory.
Lowri and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secret backstory reason Lowri hates this place.
Lowri actually hates her father.
This isn't Lowri.
Oh my god, it's a mimic! Okay, good now. It's done normal. She rolls up the scroll. Well, thank you very much. And she guides you towards the front doors. And as you walk through, this is a building the size of which none of you have ever seen before. It looked fairly impressive on the outside, but on the inside, it is the size of it feels like the size of a small city.
I'll kind of like...
Rows upon rows of bookshelves. 8 of them, in fact.
Gadron stops for a moment, and you can see the gears turning in his head of how he's processing the size of this thing.
I'll just kind of like, after taking probably like a full kind of 30 seconds to just process the scale of this place, I'll turn to Twilight and just... How does one navigate this place?
She waves her hand around, and now that you've processed the size of the place, you begin to see what's in it. There are 8 well-organized rows of bookshelves. 8 sort of corridors you can walk. 4. There are 4 corridors you can walk through. Because in terms of width, it's fairly reasonable. It's the length of the place. It seems to stretch beyond the horizon. You cannot see the end. And as you're looking around the bookshelves, you see small specks flying around, moving books about, tidying things, dusting. And as you squint, you notice these small specks appear to be tiny owls. Except they are capable of holding things with their wings.
What's lighting this place?
Well, that's one of the beauties about building in the Feywild. The lighting simply comes naturally.
Yeah, Gadron comment. That's the most normal thing I've heard all day.
I'm glad to see you're coming to an understanding of this place, Gadron. You're quite the fast learner.
Gadron thinks there's a really bored.
I don't think we understand. I don't think I fully understand this place yet.
Well, to be fair, it's not necessarily supposed to be understood. While Arcanea is the goddess of knowledge, even she will admit that magic is sometimes, at its core, incomprehensible.
I'll just glance back down by my ring. I hope that's not the case here.
At that point, she just kind of snaps her fingers, and a small white owl folk flies down and sort of hops up. Snowy, I would like you to guide these people around the library, if that's okay. The little snowy owl just kind of gives a little salute. He goes, yes, of course, Miss Twilight. I'll be right on it. Twilight nods. If you need anything in particular, I'll be here at the reception.
I'll just smile again. And an owl that can speak common. This place is full of prizes.
As she glides away, little Snowy goes, oh, I'm not just a normal owl. I'm an owl folk.
Have I heard of the owl folk before?
Roll for nature.
Okay.
This place is testing the limits of Gadron's sanity. I already know it.
You can literally see the veins on his skull just...
13 on nature.
See, you need to do what Nora does. Just accept that you don't understand anything about magic, and just be like, "All right, I'm sure this makes sense somewhere.
Like, to some people this makes sense, I'm just not that person.
The important, it's not to ground the surroundings, you gotta ground yourself, you know?
So,
Well,
as far as owl folk go, you've heard of them once in passing when reading about the Feywild in terms of some of the creatures that live there. They're fairly rare. There are certain animal folk that live around the Feywild. So
right.
there's the rabbit folk, cat folk, and of course, owl folk.
Yep.
They're often considered to be servants of Arcanea due to her sacred animal being the owl.
Yeah.
And sure enough, this place confirms it.
Okay.
And he goes, well, would you like me to give you just a small tour?
I suppose so. I guess we can. I'd probably like to spend quite a while here just perusing books. There's a lot of topics I seek knowledge on.
Of course. But if you would just let me very quickly guide you, I can show you just a few areas, just so you know where to look.
Of course.
So, if you'll follow me.
He begins to start on the right. He goes,
So, over here, now, while this place is indeed Lady Arcanea's library, she isn't a very selfish goddess, which is really nice. So she's actually made segments dedicated to some of the other gods. So, over here, this section is based on Granto and Feudin.
Sure enough, you do notice while looking up, on the bookshelves, on the sides, you do see a small engraving. Two, one on each side. On the left, you find an old, somewhat grumpy-looking man with a neatly trimmed beard, sitting on a chair holding a gavel. You recognize that as Granto. On the right, a dwarf dressed head to toe in heavy armor, wielding a battle axe and a shield. Naturally, that's Feudin, god of war.
Naturally.
Gadron looks at the dwarf carving, impressed.
So, over here, this would be the political history and wars of Quadruin. So you will find things. So over here you will find various books such as the Three-Sided War volumes, which is an ongoing documentation of what's been happening so far. We'll have a list of all the rulers of Quadruin, the founders of Quadruin. You'll find Orus's decrees.
I'll just look at it a little disinterested. I think we'll be giving this section a miss. I'm bored of the war already, and Prospect has only been involved for about 3 weeks.
That makes sense. Although it's not necessarily just the war, there's also the ongoings of the political systems of Prospect itself. You'll know some of the past mayors, and you, Mr. Halfork, you might be interested because there's a list of large battles. From what I've heard, you like fighting a lot.
Gadron blinks.
Actually, learning about, if we know where we plan to go next, and I'll look at the rest of the party, learning about the political systems of the places could actually be quite useful.
Gadron shrugs.
I can't argue with you there. It would be.
There's a part of you that is slightly curious about looking at the actual battles, but the actual politics, meh, not really your style, Gadron.
Right. Yeah. And there's that part of Gadron that's just like, please don't let it be written in that weird gibberish that was on that menu.
Isn't most writing weird gibberish to Gadron?
That's the joke.
Maybe not here, though. Remember, Feywild. Who knows we'll be here.
Yeah, I mean, Gadron might give it a look, but he's just kind of hopelessly optimistic as opposed to eager.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
So on to the next one. Here you notice on the next aisle, the engravings this time consist of a half-orc with a hammer and an anvil. And he seems to be holding a somewhat reddened sword. Wearing an apron, you can tell that this is Sindor, god of fire and the forge.
Right.
To the left of that is a small halfling surrounded by various animals, holding 2 masks. This one you are very familiar with, Kai.
Yeah.
Proscenius,
Seniors, yeah.
god of nature, theatre, and trickery. So, over here, there are 2 sides to this. On Sindor's side, we'll have mainly instruction manuals, such as some favorites, such as how to build your own house in 75 easy steps, and various military discipline that is found in the Mestrakese army. And as you'll look to the left, that's where the fiction lies. So we'll have a few fairy tales, such as the stories of the pirate king Gronak, or the Turtle's Tall Tale. Those sorts of things. I think, if I remember correctly, you were in a play version of the Turtle's Tall Tale.
I think I was actually, yes. I'll just kind of look at the owl. So, does everyone in here know everything about me?
We have records of what you've done, you see. This is kind of the case with everyone. After all, Arcanea is the goddess of knowledge. She doesn't know what will happen, but she's very aware of what has happened. Occasionally we get prophecies from her father Neos, but it's in terms of actually knowing the future, no one really can. I mean, divination magic helps, but it's not the most reliable. Anyway, I'm getting ahead. He kind of goes. He just hops along to the next segment. You guys following?
Yeah, Gadron makes a mental note to visit the instruction manuals later. He hopes to find a way to make a new sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To make a bigger sword.
If I can't buy the
Step 1.
super cool sword, I'll make one.
Step 1, get lots of metal. Step 2, make sword.
Step 3, cut things up with sword.
Congratulations, you have big sword.
Alright. The next section. This one actually has 3. You notice it's covered in a bit of an archway, this one. Since on the left, we have a dark-skinned tiefling with a dress black as night, with a wolf sitting next to her. To the right, you see an Aasimar with bright white wings. And on the archway at the top of them is a Loxodon in a priest's outfit. You recognize these as Mornox and Neos on the sides, the twin creators, Neos the god of life, Mornox the goddess of death. And on the archway is Coralie, the goddess of the sea and love. So, over here, this is the religion section. This is where you, various stories involving the gods themselves. The creation of the universe, the war against Farid, the official marriage between Mornox and Neos, and some of the various sibling rivalries throughout the years, especially between Arcanea and Feudon.
I'll kind of like perk up with the mention of Farid. I'll be honest, I didn't actually believe Farid was a real thing.
He was years ago, but he's been dealt with since then, although some of his demons still lurk the plains. It's
I'll nod. We killed some of them. No big deal.
Gadron's about to reach out to show proof, but then realizes that it was destroyed some time ago.
Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, no, it's need to worry. I already know that. That was quite impressive."
Yeah, Gadron smiles.
Well, the one that the creature that we thought that day that was hard to kill was not actually one of his creations, as I recall. It was
No, that's found on the
taken from its
material
one
plane a
somewhere.
little south from here, relatively speaking, I suppose. Although that's on the material plane. Here, distance is kind of hard to judge.
I'm just looking at the kind of like giant scale of the library. I kind of guessed that.
Okay, and then he leads you on to the last one. And this one is another archway, but there's nothing on the side. Instead, you see a single elf woman, dressed in blue robes, carefully studying a book, while various shimmers happen around her. One thing you notice is that this picture seems to be almost alive, moving. Despite it being an engraving on the wall, it's moving just like a normal person would. And of course, we have Arcanea's own section. This is all the various knowledge, whether it be about the science of the world or the magic. So, including things like the various different planes, including this one, material, the elemental planes, we have the celestial plane, infernal plane, the mechanical plane, all sorts of places. And
My eyes will just like perk up at the words mechanical plane.
he
So
continues on
if
without
I,
even noting.
I'll just kind of like cut her off. So, if I wanted to make a search for weird wind creature that looks like a clock made of gold, but it has an eye, would this be the place?
He thinks about it. Most likely, yes. I mean, if it can't be found here, it can't be found anywhere.
I'm going to nod eagerly. Okay, I'm going to make an. I get the feeling I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this section.
Well, take all the time you need. Time's an illusion here. It's really not all that big of a deal. You can stay here for days and never feel any hunger or thirst or anything like that.
Okay.
Gadron immediately in another state of thinking. He had just gotten used to this place.
He's like, now it makes sense. Fuck.
Except he doesn't say fuck, because Gadron doesn't swear because he's a good boy. But it's just like, oh, for the love of... He's like, John's left butt cheek.
I like how in this party the sailor never swears, and the person who's spent their entire life in the center of the continent as far away from the sea as you can physically get swears like a sailor.
Okay.
The irony is palpable.
To be fair, he's an actor.
That is true.
Actors swear a lot. I mean, you've listened to me. I swear like 2 sailors.
Yeah.
Okay. Other creatures, we have all the various creatures of the world. We have all the sources of magic that can be found, whether it be arcane rituals or certain constructions, or of course, what I imagine you've been looking for is how people obtain magic power in the first place.
That indeed, yes. That is what I've been looking for.
And there's also the various demons and devils that can be found throughout the world that you pretty much, whenever you see them, they have to be taken out.
Well, I know Nye's not here, but I kind of nod towards Lowri. Well, is there an indication of what gender Snowy is?
What is the way he sounds like just he sounds like a little boy.
Right, okay.
He sounds like a boy in
I'll
kindergarten.
say, yeah, well, I'll just nod to Lowri. He mentioned engineering. That might be the section for you.
Yeah, the instruction bit with Sindor's area will probably be good.
Yeah.
You were hoping to summon him.
Well, it was also on Arcanea's section. He mentioned knowledge of kind of the science of the world.
Yeah, but that's mainly in terms of the natural sciences.
Right, I see.
In terms of technology, that's more Sindor's specialty.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
God of the Forge.
I'm not gonna lie. I felt like you saying that was gonna summon Nye.
Speaking of which, considering how she's got time, I'm probably going to start moving my stuff downstairs
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we're gotten a good bit. Because we're gotten to the point where we're just going to be looking at books.
So you assume?
I am down for looking at books. Kaya's been trying to find out about Modrons for so long.
There was a little bit of information that's dropped that's piqued my interest.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Gadron is just like, what is book?
Just just before I go, can I just ask what everyone's passive perception is?
13.
I never want to hear that. I didn't write it down again.
Okay, so 13 for Gadron. Kai is
9.
9. Yeah, no, you're not. You haven't noticed anything particular.
Okay, well, it's based off of perception and what?
Yeah,
it's just 10 plus your perception.
Oh, 11 then.
Okay.
Why am I the most observant of you people?
I can try and find Lowri's as well.
Yeah, being characters.
Yeah. I know how to navigate these sheets.
I'm a little less familiar, but starting to make my way around.
Passive perception for Lowri is 13.
So
okay.
So I'm tied with Lowri for being the most
most perceptive.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I will be seeing
Which
you guys.
Which is kind of funny when you think about it.
Yeah. The scientist and the brute are more perceptive than the trained assassin and the.
Hey,
well, I suppose
to be fair,
a theater kid doesn't really need to be able to see too much.
And also formerly
I can
trained.
tell you that's a fucking lie.
Formerly trained assassin. I don't know those things anymore.
What
I'll
do
be
you
back
need
in
to
a
be able
bit.
to see?
I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so something when he mentioned something came to mind. They have logs of everything we have ever done.
Oh shit! Yeah, that is true.
Right?
Oh wow, that's genius.
That's what I was. As soon as that was said, I was like, wow,
yeah.
I was like, immediately, I was like, that's the only thing that's gonna be at Nora's mind.
Yeah.
That's like going up to a starving man and say, "Hey, we got all these things. There's food. There's books. There's like he's not gonna care about anything else except the one thing pertinent to him right now." Oh man.
Also, size chart update.
Butterfly dragons. Wait, how are they negative size? Or is
no, I cut the
Nothing
bottom.
makes
I cut the bottom of the thing.
I'll be honest, I'm completely blanking on who Snowy is.
It's the owl.
The alpha.
No, duh. Little butterfly dragons would be. You know, it sounds cute, but whenever I hear butterfly dragon, I only think of one thing.
Monster Hunter.
No, actually.
Oh, that's surprising.
There's a. It's called the Pilgrim Butterfly. They're kind of draconic beings, semi-draconic beings from Dark Souls, and easily one of the most unsettling-looking things. Like here, I'll just post this in discussion. Now, those wisps off of them.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, those wisps are like burning branches. Basically, they look almost entirely like plant-like.
Yikes.
Right.
Like here, this is a good picture of them. Does it sense?
Also, yeah, Matt, I am planning to get into Dark Souls sometime soon, like, because I've been craving I've been craving more ball-crushingly hard games like Hollow Knight.
Right.
So yeah, I figured I have Dark Souls 3 in my Steam library, so it might be time to start on that.
I mean, if you decide to play it, let me know. I'll gladly join you for some jolly cooperation.
Okay, yeah. Because I just like I've had to resort to literally modding Hollow Knight to be even harder than it already is because it's because I've done every boss fight so well.
Now, admittedly, if you want hard Dark Souls, that'd be the first one.
Okay.
But again, that's because mechanics were not fully straightened out.
So so it's hard because it's like kind of hard to control rather than being hard because
Well, it's hard in terms of difficulty, but the controls make it harder.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I played through all of Dark Souls. Like I said, Dark Souls, it's like you only want to play it with a controller.
Yeah.
I played through all of Dark Souls 1 using only a keyboard and mouse.
Right.
And not knowing that like how to lock onto enemies. Do you know what kind of awful experience it is?
But yeah, everyone like but yeah, everyone talks shit about the fact that I use keyboard and mouse to play Hollow Knight because most people like playing platformers with a controller, but I'm also better than 99% of people I know at the game. So
honestly, platformers, keyboard and mouse are pretty solid for.
Although the thing people hate most is that I use a mouse because it's really just not designed for using a mouse. It's like there's no mouse controls at all, and like the default controls are like arrow keys and like I think it's like C to jump and X to hit or something like that. So, but I just changed it to WASD. The classic shift to dash, left click to attack. But yeah, I think I'm going to start with Dark Souls 3 just because it's the one I have. So
honestly, it is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're scheming. I'm just listening. Yeah, waiting to relay the information to you.
A spy amid Star
Oh no!
Alright, spy in the base.
or you could wait another 2 minutes until Matt asks you.
Yeah, it's coming. Questions that need answers.
Right. So, Nye still isn't here.
Yeah, I could text him if you want. See how long it'll be.
So,
Yeah, I've sent a text.
Alright. We'll wait a couple minutes, I think, just in case.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you can tell me what the fuck you were planning.
They weren't actually planning anything. We were just
it's more of a
Dark Souls.
No, I've been scheming.
Okay, so I'm going to cast a fireball. Librarian.
And with that, you're the fastest librarian in the history of the Feywild.
Just like I said, Tom, there was some very interesting information brought to light when they were talking about everything here. With them knowing a lot of things about us, and apparently everything is logged. That's quite interesting.
But yeah, Tom, I think you know the first couple of things I'm going to ask about.
There's the obvious there's the obvious part of the where your magic's from, and then what the fuck are Modrons?
Yes, those are the two things I had noted down. Oh yeah, and also maybe a bit on Breed. Could I also make an inquiry as to weird divine voices in my brain?
The carving of Arcanea just goes, yeah. Oh, that's just me. Don't worry about it.
Oh, if only I was a Kenku, I'd like to. It would be so cool to just be able to like repeat the voices I'd heard in my dreams.
Yeah, I noticed someone, someone somewhere say that they had an idea of a Kenku warlock who spoke in the voice of his patron.
That's cool.
That's actually amazing. Terrifying.
I mean, the character who was in my profile picture. The idea behind him is you know how a Kenku can just repeat any sounds they've heard flawlessly.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea behind him was that he could basically play like a piece on his violin, and then just like mimic it. So he could just repeat doing that until he could basically just speak and just play like a full orchestra, which I thought was that.
Oh,
It's like that one scene in Lido Stitch, whenever they open Stitch's mouth with his finger on the record, and it just starts playing Elvis.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not getting any response from Nye, so
safe to assume that we might not
Yeah.
see in this session.
yeah. Which we might want to cut off a bit earlier then, just so
Yeah.
I also
so
have the
we don't
chance
miss
to
too
explore
much.
this library. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
I mean, Rack, I suppose you can also upload it, so I can watch anything back if he wants them.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't actually seen where you've been uploading that stuff.
To him.
I haven't actually seen where you're uploading that stuff.
I haven't uploaded anything yet. I'm waiting for some good artwork to use as the backdrop instead of just
Okay.
Right.
our Discord.
Okay.
Although Reg has uploaded one thing at my request.
Yeah.
What?
The greatest combat encounter.
The greatest encounter.
Wait, what? I haven't seen it.
It was the encounter where it was all the ridiculous shit happening at once.
This was the session where he was blinking all over the place, and I got a
Yeah.
20 with disadvantage.
And like I think there was 2 chaos bolts, each of which jumped 3 times.
Oh yeah.
It was that
Against the
encounter.
Archer Assassins, that's right.
Yeah. Which was genuinely that was the funniest encounter I've ever had in D&D.
Because normally the vector's just you can choose where to teleport, but we decided, nah, this is funnier.
The rule of funny and cool dominates Quarrels of Quadruin.
Yeah, and I just like instead of actually like instead of moving on my turns, I just took the dodge action with the rationale that there's no way there is no way he can possibly hit me by just blinking around.
Okay, it's weird hearing my normal voice.
Imposter syndrome kicking in.
Total log of our past actions and possible glimpses into our future, localized entirely within your library.
Yes.
Yes. May I see it?
That's basically what my interest is with this library.
Alright, I'm gonna go
That
ahead and
makes
stop the
sense.
recording.
Total
so
log
it's
of our
not too
past
big.
actions.
What did I rec?
I'm going ahead and stopping the recording since we're stopping early.
Oh, are we stopping now?
Oh, we're not stopping now.
Oh yeah. I was good.
Unless you guys
No,
go.
I'm good to go on. I wanna.
Okay.
I think let's just like.
We'll just have a quick look, seeing what
definitely don't leave the library before.
Yeah, we'll just have a look, see what everyone else is looking at, and if we get to the point where we might see anything major affect the story, then we'll just
Okay.
Or at least something that the entire group would know.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
So,
So I did ask for your passive perceptions.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Gadron, you do notice you are. It's hard to see where the actual end of these columns are, but you can see like a wall at the end, and the wall does seem to be ornately decorated with something.
What's back there on the wall?
Snowy goes up.
Oh, would you like me to show you?
Yeah, Gadget shrugs. Why not?
He takes his hand. He takes your hand, and you both take a step forward. And as that happens, you both feel like you're, you know, those moving floors in airports.
Oh.
It feels like you start to feel like you're walking on that, but like 3 times the speed. You take one step forward and zoom. It still takes you a few seconds to get to the end, but you do get there. And you see various paintings.
We might be going to Mulberry after church tomorrow.
All of them depict various parts of Quadruin's history. The very first, you see Vareed, who's being cast down into the infernal plane, along with many of his demons. All 8 of the gods standing above him, with their weapons raised. Next to it, golden gates, celebrations and happy smiles, as Neos and Monarchs are married together. Next to that, there's a picture of Feywild and Arcanea fighting. Arcanea casting all sorts of powerful spells, things that make the thing. You've seen Kai cast some impressive stuff, but what she's doing right now is outright reality bending. It's just a still picture, yet you can sense the sheer might of her spells. And Feywild, while he is not using any magic himself, you can tell just from his stance, his knowledge of a battle axe and a shield. Something that normally can't be used together. But he manages to wield them with such grace and such strength. You can't help but admire it.
For the rest of us, was Gadron just kind of whisked away?
You barely even noticed because you barely started looking into the books.
Right, yeah.
You did hear just a little.
I was going to look up. Wait, where did Gadron go?
Yeah. They kind of went off that way.
It's the last 3 that particularly catch your eye. The first one you see is the entire continent of Quadruin, overshadowed by a massive golden dragon with its wings outstretched, that seems to emanate light similar to the sun itself.
Yeah, Gadron tilts his head a little bit. He's gonna try. Can I try to make sense of whether this dragon looks hostile or friendly?
Roll a history check.
One.
You're thinking big dragon, big monster.
Which, by default, in Gadron's mind, is hostile.
It's just like, you've seen that thing, something that big and impressive that can go over a country, and you're like, I want to fight that.
Yep.
Don't destroy the priceless painting.
No, he knows he knows not to fight the actual painting.
He's talking.
But that dragon is like, if I see that thing one day, I'ma kill it.
I question whether Gadron knows not to fight the actual painting.
He's not wrong. He's not that dumb.
I made him roll for history, not general intelligence.
Although if I rolled a 0,
If you rolled a 0,
all bets are
so look at the ready. Next to that, you see an elf and a dwarf who are fiercely locked in battle, their weapons raised. Unbeknownst to them, there's a human running up behind them, ready to kill them both. I'll ask you to roll a history check for that one as well.
Okay. 12.
This is something that basically everyone knows. It's representation of when humans first entered the three-sided war. Speaking of which, the very last picture, several spears, ballistae, cannonballs, all sorts of weapons are striking a golden dome that is not showing any signs of giving in. You don't need a history check to know that that is Prospax. Give or take a couple of artistic licenses.
Yeah, Gadron nods in appreciation at the artwork.
Yeah, there's a theatre in the painting that didn't seem to be there when Gadron visited.
You can't actually see inside the city itself. It's just a golden dome.
Right.
See no war, hear no war.
There is no war in Prospax. Here we are safe. Here we are free.
And other hilarious jokes you can tell yourself.
Ah, no one got the Avatar reference?
I didn't.
Watch it. It's good.
It's a very good
I just don't tend to watch things. So.
Perhaps if we made a D&D campaign about
Oh yeah.
Okay, everybody is elemental monks. Everyone is 4 elements monks now. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
anyway, D&D.
Yeah. So you can tell that these are like various parts of history of Quadruin itself. Although that dragon is still confusing you. Like, is that thing trying to attack Quadruin? Is it protecting it? You really can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Snowy is still next to you, going, "Are you enjoying this?"
It's very interesting. Yeah. What about? Yeah, and he looks over at the dragon over Quadruin. What's a dragon? Is it? Yeah. I can't tell what it's trying to do.
Oh yes, him. That's Horus. That's Horus, the golden one. The Golden Founder, he's called. He's one of the people that first brought all sorts of peoples to live within Quadruin. He's sort of a divine guide. Some people say he was sent by Neos himself.
Huh.
He was there at the very beginning. Of course, no one knows where he went afterwards. He went missing several thousand years ago, soon after we first moved in. No one knows where he's been since then, whether he's dead or just left. A mystery.
Yeah. Gadron looks at the seas beyond Quadroon in the painting, and just makes a silent mental note of I want to find this dragon and test him. Gadron. Gadron turns to Snowy and says, "Well, French. I think I'll go. See about some of those. Some of those books."
Of course. Which ones would you like?
Kind of interested in those. What do you call them? Instruction manuals.
Oh, right, of course. Yes, that'll be around the Sindor section. Just hold on, I'll bring you right over.
Internally, Gadget's like, "Oh, here we go again." This time he doesn't scream. He's practically expecting it at this point.
There is still a little jolt in your stomach. But yes, sure enough, you do indeed find you're at the very large almost hallway. And you're by the bookshelves of Sindor with various instructions. Instructions for constructions.
Gadron gives a thumbs up to Snowy and just right, and goes to look for for books on making swords.
Look for swords. Okay. Roll for investigation.
But you say investigation.
You just almost unnaturally just put your hand on the first book. You pull it out, and sure enough, guides on swordsmithing.
Is this something Gadron's able to read, or?
Well, the first thing you notice, as soon as you pull it out, another book of the exact same copy just reappears in its place.
Gadron does a double take.
And you open it, and at first, it just seems like another one of those squiggly lines you hate seeing. Why do people use these? But then, the lines start to glow slightly. And you can hear words in your mind. Not particularly a voice, but somehow you're looking at this book and the words are going through and they're making complete sense. Well, sense for a blacksmith. I'm not sure if you've done any real smithing before.
Well, I have proficiency in smithing tools, actually.
Oh. Well, in that case, you probably have done a couple of hasty smithings during your adventures out in the seas whenever you break a sword and you need to make a new one.
Mm-hmm.
You learn that there are ways of making bigger swords, particularly the certain kinds. You've got your long swords, you've got short swords, rapiers, daggers, scimitars, great swords, and even all sorts of other blades like axes and hammers. And it shows, like, if you wish to learn to make this particular type of sword, turn to this page.
Gadron notes, Gadron, Gadron looks at the various different types of swords and, turns to the page that, that the great swords are on.
You're going for great swords. Yep. And you do find a few instructions, mainly in terms of making sure that the blade is the right width, but also the right depth to make sure that it doesn't just shatter the moment it hits any sort of surface on impact. So you're just kind of spending your time reading all about the functions of greatswords. You learn that for most people, in fact, for pretty much all of them except for superhumanly strong beings, they are a two-handed weapon. Yeah, you could only really use one feasibly.
Gadron looks at looks at his muscles for a moment, contemplating whether he counts as superhuman.
Meanwhile, Kai?
Yeah. I think Olive probably quite predictably started out by looking for anything on different things that can give someone magic abilities. Probably ignoring like anything to do with draconic magic or any other source of magic that I know of. I'm trying to find kind of unheard of ones. So.
Okay. So, you do, sure enough, find one very large book, which seems pretty obvious. It seems that this book, you put it up, you put it up, and it does seem somewhat used, not in bad condition, but that a lot of people have read this throughout the centuries. Clearly, this is a source of valuable information for some people, and it does show some of the usual draconic magic study, the recent combination of magic and technology, as first shown by a certain Comroy Anne. But then you start seeing some of the rarer stuff. There are certain beings that are descended from celestials. You find some that have taken up a certain pact. You find some are simply gifted by the gods themselves. And you do find one page. But it's torn out. In fact, it's a couple of pages that have been torn out.
I'll look around to see if the librarian is anywhere kind of around. Not the librarian, but if Snowy's anywhere around here.
Snowy, because he's because he's a somewhat magical being, he basically just flies straight up to you.
Yes, Mr. Kai, how can I help you?
Something strange. In this tome of magic, look at this, and I'll just show where the pages seem to have been torn out. It seems that the library might be missing some knowledge.
Oh. That's very strange. Just hold on just a minute. I'll take this up with Miss Twilight. I'll be right back.
Flaps off.
Yeah. And while he does so, I'm going to kind of look up I'm going to look up types of solutions that are used to determine types of magic, trying to find kind of the kind of solution that was used by the librarian back in Prospax, and and maybe also the test that baffled the cult. Just to see if there's any information pertaining to those and how they work.
All right. So as far as figuring out what magic you have, you do indeed find one talking about it's this one like slightly cheesy looking, almost self-help book. Like, so you think you're naturally magic. You open up and it does indeed detail various types of ways of figuring out. There's the obvious blood test that's conducted by certain clerics or wizards with the right knowledge of anatomy. Yeah, occasionally prayer seems to work, particularly when praying towards Arcanea.
Tried that. And yeah, I'll another thing I'll do. Yeah, I'll also look over I'll just look over kind of results of the tests and what they mean. Do I remember what do I remember what the result was way back in session 2 in the library when the librarian in Prospax tested me and was baffled by the results? Do I remember what actually happened then?
Well, you were told that, and this book also converts it, that depending on what type of magic you have, it usually, if mixed with a certain chemical, it tends to change to a specific color. For example, if it's of divine nature, it becomes a solid gold. If it's draconic, it becomes red.
Yeah, and did mine change? Mine just like went crazy.
Yeah, yours was just an outright rainbow of colors. It was like a full-on lava lamp.
I see.
And sure enough, you look to see where that color is, and yet again, there's just a suspiciously cut area. Just a missing page. Well, this time it's just half a page.
I would kind of frown. And kind of mentally call out for Snowy again.
Perfect timing, because he just finished getting back, and he's got this somewhat worried look on his face.
So I had a talk with Miss Twilight, and she says there's a reason for that. It turns out usually when this book was written, this was back when that kind of magic, whatever it was allowed, but since then it's been deemed a divine crime to know about that sort of magic. It's considered dangerous. I don't know what
And
kind of
I
magic it
assume
is, and neither
this
does
is-
she. But
I assume it's the same here.
He looks in.
possibly, I would imagine. I would believe so.
I'll just kind of close the book with a very kind of graven look on my face as I realise that my existence may or may not be a divine crime.
Oh god.
Oh, but as long as but don't if you believe this has something to do with you, well, perhaps that's the reason for it. It's well, maybe you should talk to Miss Twilight. She does know quite a bit about magic, so maybe you should just talk directly to her.
Maybe I should. In the meantime, is there any more? Is there any more? I suppose I'm not going to have much luck in this library finding knowledge on this type of magic.
I'm not sure if we're as many books as there are. The people who manage that sort of security are very, very delicate with their very thorough. If you understand what I mean, I'm very sorry. I'm sure you had a lot of questions that still can't be answered, but I'm
Indeed.
sure you'll find them one day.
And if also just to make sure, because I may have misheard something. Is the like did she say that Twilight doesn't? When she said she does, did she say that even Arcanea doesn't know about this type of magic?
Oh, I believe Arcanea knows. She just doesn't want other people to know about it.
So what you might be saying is that if I gained full control of this power, bad things could happen.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the actual magic itself, so much as the method of attaining it.
Well,
But if you don't know where it came from, then I doubt it will be you who's punished for it. After all, if you don't remember, then obviously you're not the one who did it. Unless you're lying, but I don't think you're lying. Are you lying? Please don't be lying.
I am not lying.
Okay, good.
I'd have thought you'd have known that.
I suppose that's a good point.
But well, it certainly concerns me. As for the but well, I suppose I'll continue my browsing on other topics.
Alright, I'm sorry I could not be of more use.
It's okay. And I look down at my ring again, this time a slightly more worried look on my face as I kind of flash back to the vision I had of burning down prospects. Okay. Well, onto the next topic of study. Weird winged creatures that look like clocks made of gold and have one single eye.
He immediately just puts up one feather finger, flies up to one of the upper shelves, grabs a book, and hands it to you. And you see, sure enough, the planes of existence.
You're going to want to turn to page 206.
I will flip through. I'll kind of like as I'm doing it, I'll just like kind of lazily read, just skim read like some other pages I go past, just like
You notice how, you get through things like various aspects of the Feywild, many of which Sherman already explained to you. You have, you got the material plane. You kind of skip over that. You're well aware of what that is. You live there. You see bits of the infernal plane, the abyssal plane, the celestial plane. That one catches your eye for a bit before you remember what you're here for. Until eventually, you come across the mechanical plane.
Okay. And yeah, any specifics there?
It's said to be one of the very few planes that live in tandem with the rest of the known planes of the gods, and yet it's also not of this realm. It's sort of a shared ownership. They live alongside each other, but the interactions are very rare, and usually people from other planes do not enter the opposite plane and vice versa. And sure enough, the mechanical plane, it is completely devoid of any organic life. It's a world made entirely of metal, steel, iron, and something called plastic that you've never heard of. But you are very curious as to what that is. And sure enough, even the people that live there, the various beings, they're all made of metal. And there are all types. And sure enough, the most basic kind, which are considered the equivalent of mortal races here, like elves, humans, dwarves, halflings, in the mechanical plane, there are Modrons. They do not think the same way. In fact, they barely think of at all. They are born with the express purpose of something, and they go about their lives doing that specific purpose. There's no thought, there's no want. So if something interrupts that code of theirs, it tends to very briefly shake up their psyche, and the only way to fix that is by getting them back into their main activity. If they are kept outside for too long, then they start to go slightly insane.
I'll just nod. I presume if Nor or Lowry are anywhere nearby, I'll just go like, this library trip is not going well. First, I find out that my existence is some kind of a crime against the gods, and then I find out that I may have killed an innocent creature from the mechanical plane.
No, don't worry. Remember, he went back.
Yep.
So you presume he just went back to his usual
So,
activity.
again, if time passes as weirdly there as it does here, could be a bad sign.
Oh no, you did read that actually time is even more like rigid there.
Okay.
Like people like
Okay, that's good.
here people say like in an hour, in a few minutes. Here, when they say when they're going to arrive, they say the exact time they will arrive.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, 9
When they
minutes,
speak,
52 seconds, and 82 milliseconds from now.
Exactly. Down to the last nanosecond.
I imagine they speak
Don't
in binary,
even-
so it doesn't take forever.
Don't even go to picoseconds.
Exactly.
How lazy.
I know at least two of those things, I don't think either of them are really your fault. And you didn't try to summon that creature, I don't believe.
No, I certainly did not. But, well, I suppose this answers a few questions at least. I'll just kind of look at just the thickness of the tome, I did not realize there was this many planes.
Oh yes, of course. There's plenty. There's ones belonging to each of the gods. After all, the Feywild is, well, it's usually a bit shared, but there are some which are much more specifically linked to a certain god, such as the abyssal plane, often considered to be the realm of the dead, that's very clearly Mornox's home, whereas the celestial plane is more associated with Neos.
And the place you said the reed was cast into, the
Oh,
infernal
the
plane?
infernal plane?
Yes. Where
Well,
have I got that in this book?
oh, that's right at the end.
I'll flip to the end of the book and see what there is on the infernal plane.
A place that's absolutely covered in flames and brimstone. Packed to the brim with some demons that are truly horrifying. Like, the imps are one thing that you fought. The barbed devils that you fought at the arena, you thought they were something. Some of the stuff you see here are ridiculous. You see demogorgons. You see all sorts of crazy beasts. And at the very end, you see this large creature looking somewhat similar to a T-Rex you fought, only far, far larger, trapped in chains. And with a smile, and with the eyes, who those alone could probably wipe out a city. And just underneath, you just see the words, Tarask.
Well, I'll just remember to myself, well, I know someone who would like that place. And with that, I think that's all of my planar inquiries solved.
Right.
So I will now move on to the third and final topic I sought to research here. Is there anything about strange voices in your head that, appear
Mm.
in dreams, perhaps? Anything about dreaming?
Let me. As far as I know, it won't be within this section.
That's okay.
I do remember one that was in the Sindor row. If you would like to join me to go there.
Yes, of course.
He stretches out his little wing hand.
Yep, I'll take it.
You just zoom off. And you arrive, and sure enough, Gadron is still there, looking at the intricacies of a scimitar. Something he isn't planning on using, but he can appreciate the craftsmanship.
Yeah, well, actually, he's not. He's not. He skipped past the scimitar. He's looking at all the different types of longswords.
Oh yeah. In the meantime, we'll get back to you in a sec. But
Yeah.
Nor, what have you been looking at?
I think would have gone to the. If I'm not mistaken, we passed a area on Mastroke.
Yes, the various political history.
Is there anything a little more pertinent to what I have ties to?
Roll investigation for me.
Oh, let me.
And people say intelligence is a dumb stat.
Hey, for me it is.
We've got an idiot, an amnesiac, and a reasonably intelligent kid, and a technical genius.
I'm an idiot and an amnesiac.
No, you're just unlucky.
That too.
You look around, and there are all sorts of things regarding Mistroke's military. There's the various generals throughout the years. There's all the kings they've ruled, especially during the three-sided war. Some of the battles they've won, some of the battles they've lost. You read a few assassinations, but you never find anything regarding the Deceptors specifically.
That's odd. I guess I'll kind of look around for Snowy. He seems to know where things are.
You just snap your fingers and he's right there.
Yes?
I'm looking for a book on like specific groups within Mistroke.
Oh, what kind are you looking for? A traveling circus, aspect of the military, or theater groups?
More covert. I've run into a few members of it. I believe the group was called Deceptors.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I remember hearing about that. Would you like me to ask Miss Twilight?
If that's all right, yeah.
I'll be right back.
He flies off.
Sounds like the Deceptors rolled a natural 20 on their stealth check, so not even the Goddess of Knowledge knows where they're
Apparently. It's kind of like the Thieves Guild. They're always right under the city, but everyone's like, ha! There's no such thing.
A few minutes pass. Eventually, Twilight does come out and says, Kai and Nor, if you would like to come here for just a second.
I'll nod and do so.
Yep.
I suppose I have not been entirely specific on how this library works, where it gets all these books from. See, these aren't written specifically for this library. Have you noticed that whenever you pick a book out, it reappears?
No, but I suppose
She
we'll
walks to a book, just picks one out, and the exact same copy appears where it was. She puts the book back to where it was, and the book that took its place disappears, and she's able to put it back perfectly fine.
So
I have not asked where these books come from. These are essentially magical copies. The original novels, these original books, they actually exist somewhere else in this world. Include somewhere, either it could be on the material plane, celestial, infernal. If there are certain types of information you are looking for, it has to be officially written down.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the books have to be in a somewhat similar quality. So the Tauren book I was telling you about, Kai.
Yes.
I mentioned that it was secret knowledge, but I was not entirely truthful. It is not me who wished for it to be secret, but whoever wrote that book, or whoever found it.
I see. So, forgive me if this question is a crime against the gods. Don't kill me where I stand. But if I were to attempt to seek out this knowledge, do I have any indication for where I would go?
Hold on just a minute. She walks to the other end of the library. And you can just see by squinting the difference next to the paintings that Gadron was nearby that you guys have just noticed for the first time now. She walks through a small side door, which you can hear a as it locks.
Wonder what's behind there.
Me too. Extra secret knowledge, perhaps?
Not even the gods know this information.
Wonder why they'd be keeping it back there. I mean, the access to this library is already very limited,
Hmm.
and only select few get to even go here.
But maybe it's maybe there's things that even the people who get things, maybe even the people who get that permission, there's things they shouldn't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'll just kind of wait. Also, yeah, I assume this interrupted my search for stuff on dreams.
I would imagine so.
Okay. So you look through the book and you find that certain messages in dreams are usually visions. On rare occasions, you can find messages coming directly from gods. But if you get them from when you're asleep, that's usually a sign of you becoming a cleric. But other magical people can have them from certain other magical people or even magical creatures sometimes.
Okay. And is there kind of anywhere? Is there an index of beings that can cause these dreams or something?
You hit at the very end. There is a list. You have celestial beings such as Quarrels, unicorns, Pegasi, Asimar, planetars, a few other creatures such as hags, dragons, certain demons.
I don't suppose I'd know if the voices I heard kind of sound like any of these.
You remember hearing. You've heard 3 voices in your life.
Yeah.
The ones from the very beginning, the one you heard very briefly before the trees attacked, and the one you had as part of a nightmare just before you left Salsarine.
Yeah. Was that wait? Was
Well, not before you left. That was
Yeah.
It was you had one very small vision. That was like 2 voices. The one you'd been hearing since Prospax, who's been with you
Yeah.
for a while, and one that was part of more of a vision.
Yeah, I see. So yeah, I'll okay. So yeah, I don't suppose I'd have any indication of what those are.
Unfortunately, voices are very hard to pin towards specific, especially
Yeah.
because these are usually telepathic. So they can. So a lot of people are good at making their voices sound however they want.
Yeah. Okay.
Useful trickery, in fact.
And yeah, I'll just like yeah. Well, enough. Well, I suppose that's every question I had for this place answered. And yeah, I'll just begin to wait for her to come back.
Yeah. You wait a while, or at least you think. Again, Feywild, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And eventually, she does come out. Right. So, as far as the just remind me very quick what the question was. I've completely forgotten.
The question was.
Where would he
It
look for
was
the illegal magic?
yeah. Where would I look for the yeah for the knowledge?
So so I had to look through the archives to figure out when the book you showed that was torn. I looked where it was published originally, and the original version. I believe it is found. Let's see, where was it? It was somewhere in Mistroke.
At the very, very far east of it. Just somewhere along the coastal border between Mistroke and Vaglad.
That's exactly where we were heading anyway, as I recall.
You guys were heading west, actually.
Oh, right.
Mhm.
Was it? Right, so is Gadron's thing west then?
Gadron's ship is west, and this town is
Okay.
east.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I believe it's Yes, it's rather. From what I've heard, it's a very secretive town.
What's it called?
Well, the actual town itself, I suppose, is not sure that secretive. It's an old prospecting town. It's simply called Goattooth, named after the founder. Can you believe it?
Okay. Well, I'll make a note of that, and I'll kind of just pull out my journal and scribble down the name. Goldtooth Town. Find the book. But well, thank you for your help.
I'm glad I could do. I suppose I find it rare for me to be stumped when it comes to knowledge, but well, given what I've read about you, you guys are a very interesting group of people.
You could say that.
Well, speaking of reading on us, is there any way that we could see these supposed journals that you guys have kept somewhere?
Her eyes just widen. No, that is strictly for us in order to keep tabs. We can't allow mortals to enter the archives like that, in case they might end up accidentally tampering with it.
Is there a way that you could bring one to us?
I can read certain parts of it to you. I'll have to go into the archives again, but I suppose depending on what you wish to know, I can look for it.
I suppose if you've been reading, I think you know what I'd like to know.
Well, it has been a while since I looked at yours specifically. I only really looked up the most recent entries, but I will give it a look. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out what you want. And she immediately goes back.
Okay, I turned to Kai after a couple seconds, and something occurred to me just now.
What?
So they have no idea what Deceptors or any of that is. You think they'd have a problem at all, seeing that, knowing what I would have been?
Hard to say. I highly doubt they blame you, considering, well, they didn't seem too bothered by me being whatever I am, because they recognize that I had no control over it. And I can vouch that you're a different person now than you were back then. So I don't think they would abhor you for it.
Here's hoping. I assume that most of your reading hasn't turned up too much in favor of the answers you're looking for either.
Not particularly, but well, I have the name of a place that we could potentially head to in order to find a little more knowledge. Sadly, it's on the opposite coast to where we are right now, so it might be a while before we can get there, but it's a destination.
Oh.
A town somewhere on the border between between the sea, Vaglad, and Matrosk, and it's called Goldtooth.
At least we have a lead to your answers.
We do, but I fear it may be a while before we can find it, and in the meantime, I have to live with the knowledge that whatever my power is, it's considered forbidden in the eyes of gods, which does not, it bodes well for the strength it might give me, but not for anything else, really.
You know, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I've seen what you can do. I think you'd be fine no matter what they throw at you.
Maybe.
Oh. I kind of nudge him and say, except maybe for dogs. You know?
Yeah, I'll smile for just for the first time, probably since reading that about my powers, and just we can we can discount the dogs out of my capabilities.
Tell you what, me and Gadron can keep the dogs off you. You take care of the rest.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And right at that moment, Gadron walks out of the aisle, still nose in the book, and it blinks. Oh, what am I doing?
I kind of lean over to Kai. I didn't know that he could actually read.
At that moment, you hear footsteps saying, "Oh, he can't." But these books are these books are, like I said, they're magical copies, so they're able to convey information without using the words specifically. After all, many of the words many of the books you read here are written in languages that no normal person could understand.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey,
You're here.
Hey, you made it.
Okay.
welcome.
So
You've missed a lot of things.
Okay.
The memes of
So
Quick
we're
rundown.
in the Feywild right now.
Sherman, the big treant, guided you guys through the Feywild.
Okay.
Size reference for Sherman quite far up in D&D discussion.
I saw that.
And then Willow, that's the willow tree that they had to go through because they entered the Feywild. And in the Feywild was indeed the Library of Arcanea, which is fucking massive.
Like, yeah, and when Tom says massive, we're talking like city size.
Oh damn! So okay.
Yeah.
But because it's magical, so it's basically organized by this one Eldrin called Twilight, and several little owl folk people who are adorable, and they've been guided by Snowy, who's a wholesome being who just wants to help people.
Okay.
So they've been looking for information. Gadron is somewhat able to read. He's seen a few pictures at the back. He's the only one who's had a proper look at them. Although if your character wants to look, you can.
He saw a dragon the size of a continent, and his first thought was, "I want to fight them."
I finally able to tie up the ending of that little memes.
Yeah, pretty much that is actually pretty accurate.
I love just the hour between the question and the answer.
That's exactly how long Seymour was thinking.
Yeah.
His eyes darting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No.
No.
Oh dear.
But yeah, to continue, we just
So Kai's been looking at a book, for various ways of gaining magic. So through looking for so there's praying to gods, making pacts with otherworldly beings, being born from a dragon. There's a being undead sort of thing, and then there's the one he was looking for at the very end, and the pages were ripped out.
Oh.
And because this is a magical copy of the book, so it's basically a representation of what the original book is. The original book was originally written in a place in the Far East called Goldtooth.
Okay.
Which is still a little better than what Nor found, because he was looking for a book about the Deceptors and found jack shit. And it's currently asked the main library because there's also basically a list of what every person has done in their life.
Yeah, I saw that in the meme.
Yeah, that was obvious. And so the main librarian is going to look for that to answer Nor's question. What have you been doing this whole time? Oh, also, Gadron has been reading about how to make greatswords.
There was a section I took note of that might interest you now. There was a section on engineering under the jurisdiction of one of under the section of one of the gods.
So the 4 sections. There's the history with the politics and the war. Then there's a section of basically instructions for buildings, and on the other side of that is the fiction bit. Then there's the various myths of the gods themselves, and finally there's just sort of the general knowledge and magic section.
Okay. Would Lowri know about the different gods already? Just not much about them.
Roll religion.
Okay. I just mean the stuff that you put in the backgrounds channel.
We also did just get taken on. We got, you weren't here for it in person, but you got taken on a tour of it.
But in terms of the actual painting, only Gadron really had a proper look at them.
Yep.
Okay. Religion.
Yep.
Oh.
Well, outside of the basic stuff that literally everyone knows, you haven't really paid much attention to religion. You're more of a woman of science. So this whole talk about other planes, until now, you didn't really think it would be of any use to you. But boy, have you been proven wrong tonight.
Damn. Okay. Well. Oh yeah.
Twilight comes back, and she goes.
For your context tonight, Twilight is the librarian who kind of took over from the tree to guide us.
Yeah.
So she goes. This is going to sound very discomforting to you, Nor, but have you experienced any sort of issues regarding memory?
Oh.
Yes.
I see. Well, that makes things issue because the clearest lines of text regarding your life, they only start from about 6 months ago. The rest, I can see a handful of words, but they don't really provide any sort of major picture. Every time you learn something new about your past self, it reappears. So I have seen these deceptors and various things. But I've been looking for it, but there is one very faint word I did manage to find. Are you familiar with the name Swordbreak?
Question: am I familiar with the word?
Roll history.
Swordbreakers are the coolest things.
No, this is just Swordbreak.
Ah, right, okay.
Not Swordbreaker.
I'm assuming I have no recollection at all.
I mean, you're aware of broken swords, but the word sword break? There's something in the back of your mind, but you have absolutely no idea what it means. He goes, well, I recommend you hold that name close to your heart.
All right. Well, Thank you. It's more than I came in with.
Which was
I'm
nothing.
glad I could provide something. Though disappointed I could not provide as much knowledge as this library is known to do, but I suppose this is more of a general knowledge rather than a personal thing. I'm so sorry.
No worse for it. And thank you.
Yeah, Gaijin just shrugs at the display and decides to go move to the to the battles place.
Also, just to say, I googled it, and holy shit, swordbreakers are the coolest thing.
I know, right?
Well, now I
They're
wonder what
basically-
swordbreakers are.
They're basically these daggers which have holes in which
Oh,
are designed
yeah,
to
no.
catch a sword.
Yeah, I actually modeled one of those for my 3D modeling class.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
That would have been fun. Lots of Boolean logic.
There's also a thing called a triple dagger, which is just a dagger with 3 blades.
One of those.
That
I
sounds
was
like a
about
big
to ask
trident.
that.
I'll post a picture of it. It looks like a trident.
Yeah, it's like a mini trident.
Oh. See, I was picturing like one blade going backwards and 2 going forwards. Almost like
the lights.
I feel like at that point it's just a shuriken.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it splits into like that is normally like one
My
blade.
dagger has wide range.
And then yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time for you to decide what you're researching, I think, now.
Yeah, what you've
Yeah.
been doing in the meantime.
Right, so I, out of character, want to look up a god, but it seems like Lowri probably wouldn't know to do this. So
Probably
I
would be
will
interested.
probably check if there's anything on. I'll kind of it wasn't Snowball, it was
Yeah, snowy.
Snowy.
Yeah.
I'll kind of turn to Snowy and just go, sorry, do you have any books on elven illnesses? I know there aren't many, but yeah.
As far as well, when it comes to elven illnesses, closest I can think of is. Oh, I remember now.
He immediately flies towards the Arcanea section and comes back with a book.
This probably isn't exactly what you're looking for, but as far as when it comes to elves, this is the closest thing I could think of. So I hope it's okay.
He drops the book,
thank
and
you.
you see the title. Long-term elven curses.
Ah.
That is interesting.
This sounds like it might be the right thing. So thank you. And is it a big book or is it?
It's relatively small.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm assuming I can't take it with me.
And do you actually ask this in character?
Sorry. Are we allowed to take books out of the library? I'm not entirely sure how this place works.
And Snowy just kind of laughs.
Well, it's a library, isn't it? Of course you can take things out. If you're allowed to come in here, you're allowed to take things out. Temporarily, of course.
Oh,
Of course, we say temporary, but that you don't have to worry about handing it in. Once you've had enough of it, it comes back automatically.
Oh, nice. Wow.
These are
That's a-
magical copies, after all.
That's a neat system. Well, thank you. I'll kind of probably put that in my bag. I don't know if I have anything else I want to ask about, and I'll kind of turn to Kai, and I don't know if I would have actually known about this already, but I was just go, have we looked into modrons yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
That was literally the
I'll kind
second
of-
thing
I'll-
we looked at.
I'll lean over to Or Lowri. Bit of a touchy subject. I think he thinks that he killed one.
Ah,
But yeah,
Okay.
basically, so we found out that they're from this place called the Mechanical Plane. They're these creatures called Modrons, and they're basically the lowest level of kind of being there. They're like mortals are to this world, is what Modrons are to there, and they're created solely for a function. And if you and they perform that function, and apparently, if their function gets interrupted, bad things can happen to the Modron.
Only after an extended period of time.
Such as insanity.
oh. I mean, that was only. It was only with us for like 2 minutes, so.
Yes,
One.
so I can.
One, that's true.
I can be hopeful.
Meanwhile, on the material plane, exterminate, exterminate, exterminate.
And meanwhile, Gadron is searching.
And yeah, the other things I've been looking into are there was some. I looked into some other planes while I was reading that book, such as the Infernal Plane, which is where that first being guy lived. There's several other much more powerful demons than the one we fought there, but I suspect they would be far beyond that little group's capabilities to, capture or tame.
Okay.
And well, and then I also looked into dreams, just because I've had a few of those, but no real conclusive answers on that either.
Okay then. So we've been quite productive.
Indeed, I think. Well, and did I tell you about what I've found about the kind of magic I have?
No.
Well, apparently, it's a crime to know about this type of magic. It's a crime to bestow it on someone, but apparently, according to Twilight at least, I wouldn't be in danger of punishment for using it because, well, it wasn't under my control, but the gods do not want anyone even knowing about this kind of magic.
Oh. Okay then.
Yeah.
So.
Kai's face is just kind of a lot more serious than you're used
Something to be
seeing.
wary of.
Yes, I know, and well, you may call me a fool for this, but I know a place we could try and find out more about it. But it's on the other side of the continent, so for now, maybe it's a long-term prospect.
Okay. I don't entirely understand, but I feel like I don't want to.
Well, sadly, I do, and if that brings me into opposition with some gods, so be it.
Sorry, give me a second.
I love the juxtaposition between the potential humorous consequences of summoning a Modron and the serious nature of my existence as a crime.
Yeah.
On one hand, I summon a cute robot. On the other hand, I may be the Antichrist.
And on the other hand, you may have almost sent that robot spiraling into a self-destructive tendency of...
Not necessarily even self, just destructive.
Yeah.
You knocked his clockwork to a nanosecond off cycle.
Oh, we can't. Oh no.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to know. I think of stuff that I can physically learn. I've got everything that I want.
Yeah.
Man, if only we were like, was it a warlock? Where it's just written spells and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Be a
wizard.
warlock. Oh, wizards. If only I didn't know if it was a wizard or a warlock.
Yeah.
No, warlock.
This is a
Warlock
warlock stream.
patron.
Yeah, this is a warlock stream because if it's written down, it's here.
Yeah.
And you can rent out the books, and when you're done with them, they'll go back. Who say you never have to be done with the book?
It's wizards who take the written spells and that sort of thing.
You
Yeah.
could also like.
Oh.
I feel like you could theoretically make a lot of money from this library if you just sold the books and then like.
I feel like
Except after a time limit, the books just immediately return to a library.
yeah.
Yeah, but like
You're
we've made the money at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate scam artists.
Tom,
Except you do have to aware that this library belongs to a goddess. She'll know.
Okay, yeah, it might not be.
If
worth risking.
I was a different kind of rogue, that's
Tom,
what I'd be doing.
If you were James,
Tom giving us the library so that we can answer some questions and get some nice plot hooks. Us using the library to set up a pyramid scheme.
There is something actually. Is Snowy still around? I assume, right?
Yep. He is not leaving the
Alright.
side.
No, just gonna go. I'll lean over and whisper here to Snowy.
What is it?
I sent you the.
All right.
Do we see the whispering occurring?
I certainly don't. I'm looking up battles.
Fair enough.
He flies back to Arcanea, then comes back with an anti-magic mind materials.
Wow.
It's a bit of a complicated one, so if you're going to read it, I suggest you're somewhere where you're sitting down comfortably.
Well, how long do we actually get to hold on to these?
Well, it'll know when you finished needing them. So as soon as you no longer need them, they'll automatically come back.
Thank you, Snow.
And besides, don't worry. He starts pulling out the same book over and over again. We got infinite copies. And then from the reception desk, you hear, "Snowy, put those back." He starts very sheepishly putting them all back.
Stop breaking the laws of physics.
Stop meddling with time and space.
Alright, well. I think I've got everything that I need.
Yeah, me too. I think this trip to the library gave me more than I'd bargained for.
I think I'm also ready to go.
I still haven't looked at the battles.
We just grab all of the books and take it with us. We can afford to.
Well, but will the magic voice read them to Gadron if we get out of here?
That's the books that are magic, so
Yeah, they will.
Hopefully.
They will.
if not, I'm sure there might be some pictures here and there.
That's how Gadget could read it. It's just pictures.
It literally beams pictures into his mind. It's just an audiobook, really.
After a couple minutes, Gadget pops out of the war aisle with a stack of 5 books, including the smithing one he had.
A few of you do to a double take because the image of Gadron carrying several books never once crossed your mind.
What is this?
It's like this Feywild place is fucking weird.
You just assume they're not books. They're just something that look quite like books. I don't know what that would be.
Oh yeah, also no, you
Yep.
also missed a lot of Gadron getting scared by various aspects of the Feywild.
Yep.
Also, I want to say that
Ah,
the
pixies!
Ah, teleporting
mention of
trees.
the pictures being blasted into Gadron's mind when he's reading just kind of reminded me of that SpongeBob scene with the shows over his skate and just like. That's just kind of how I imagine
Yeah,
it right
except
there.
in reverse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just pictures being blasted into his.
That's the Gadget way.
Yep.
Yeah, Gadget looks at the astounded looks of everyone else and just says, "Whoa!"
You've got bugs.
Yeah, yep. I mean, yeah, I didn't expect today to be talking to a tree. Yeah, but yeah, going through this place and yeah, moving around at the speed of sound. But here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Gadget just sort of flashes a thumbs up to Twilight and Snowy, just like, yeah, thanks.
Snowy just very politely bows.
My pleasure. Would that be all then?
I think I'm good.
I think so. Yes.
Okay. So he leads you back towards the reception, where Twilight is there to open the door.
Thank you for coming. And of course, the pass is in perpetuity, so whenever you wish to return here, if there's something you wish to learn, please make yourselves at home.
Oh well, that's good news. We were told the pass was one time.
No.
Well, sometimes it is. I'm sure that was the intention of the government, but I've been told of great things from you. So we'll be watching you very intently.
Well, thank you. If we ever do need another piece of knowledge, then we may well return. And yeah, I'll give her kind of a bow.
To return, do we need to just out of character to return? Will we have to go back to the tree?
The tree is waiting outside.
Yeah.
No,
No,
as in like later in the campaign, if we wanted to come back, would we need to walk all the way back there?
Yes, you would have to go back to see Sherman.
Okay.
Although by that point, those trolls will be less of an issue.
Yeah.
I'll just look at them and they'll just be like, eh.
Additionally, at level 13, I can learn teleport. So quite a while.
Only not
long term prospect.
Yeah, only not
Does
eight,
teleport allow
or
you to
9
cross
levels
planes, though?
That's no, but I could teleport to the tree.
Okay, yeah, that's doable.
Yeah.
So you walk outside. Sherman's still sitting there, talking to a few pixies, and he turns.
Have you found what you were looking for?
That's well. I found what I was looking for and more. Let's say.
We think so.
It is
Gadget
true
flashes
that
thumbs up.
it is true that not all the answers in life can be found in books.
Yes.
Sometimes life is a far better educator than any stuffy old author holed up in his basement.
Well, the answer I sought was deliberately taken out of the book.
Really?
Indeed.
That is...
The origin of my powers is some sort of crime to the gods to know of it. And thus I am doing the sensible thing and trying to learn of it.
Nice.
Yeah, quotes that'll go down in history.
Fame. No, he'll die too quick for that to be quoted.
He'll live on in our memories.
famous last words.
Okay. So he guides you back across the Feywild. The five of you, Nye, Kai, Nor, Gadron, Barnaby. Surprisingly enough, Arthur has not just magically appeared there.
Damn.
What did Barnaby read while we were in the library?
That's a good question. What did did he come out with any kind of books or anything?
Barnaby is a horse.
He's also
Correct.
Oh no,
third of
actually, as you guys are exiting, you do notice one of the owls is desperately trying to pull one of the books out of Barnaby's mouth.
Hell. Oh yeah.
I was trying to kind of make a comment to the owl. Just looks like he's trying to mold that one over.
Another thing you missed, Nye, is that now that I've discovered that horses that have wings exist, I hate Barnaby even more.
It's not cool enough.
Useless horse, grow wings.
Why don't you just teach yourself true polymorph? Then you'll get things.
It's not true polymorph, but I do get polymorph next level. So.
True polymorph is a few levels away.
Yeah.
Alright.
You can temporarily get one.
And I think that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Okay, yeah, that was very good.
Yeah, very nice info dump there.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah,
I was only there for like the last bit of it.
That's fine.
Yeah. Fun fact: you missed some interesting stuff in the reception.
How so?
So they just had us say our names, so that it would be magically written in the system. And so.
Oh yeah, and Gadron. It turns out Gadron has a actual surname,
which he
Wait, really?
that he doesn't know about.
Damn.
Well, it's Gadron. What's the actual title again? Let me have a look. See. Okay, go scroll past a bunch of stuff because there was all the stuff. Okay, that's it. It's Gadron Dragoxon.
Dragox.
Yeah.
Pretty solid name.
Also, I had this quote in my draft, which I quite like this quote.
Wait, I just realized something. Did you say that Gadron didn't?
Yeah,
wasn't aware of that last name.
Is that?
Sorry.
I was gonna say, did you say that Gadron didn't know his last name?
Well, it was more to the point.
Did I do that, or was it he just said something else and it put the correct one?
Yeah, he said Gadron the Bloody, which is the name he gave himself, but it said his name was Gadron Dragoxon, and
and we also found out that Gadron also that Nor just doesn't have a surname.
That I feel
Or
like
it's
that
just been
makes sense.
forgotten.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great session. Just a chill time in the library.
yeah, the irony of Gadron holding 5 books is
It's palpable.
Hey, same word choice.
Exact same time.
In the case of Barnaby, it's palatable.
You were hanging too much around me and Eliza during Rachel's stream earlier. Except, yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I usually repress my puns, but I can slap out some bangers every now and again.
Nice.
I don't think that's a good thing.
I will admit I had planned for one combat encounter, but you never got round to doing it, so meh.
Wait, what?
But did you plan for the combat encounter when we murder hoboed the librarian?
I almost feel like when they went in the behind the scenes room, like there was a possibility of us trying to sneak in there, and I feel like that's what escalated it.
Possibly.
Is that right, Tom?
Maybe.
I'm
just saying, if you directly attack the librarian, she would have plane shifted your ass straight in front of that Tarask.
See, again, I am a rogue, but I have a very linear path here.
But
I'm not out here to
plane shifters to the Tarask. Kai plane shifts a Modron in to protect us.
Yes. A very even matchup.
I'm pretty sure that's just a Pokemon battle at that point, ain't it?
I mean,
it's what happens when you pick. It's what happens if you pick Groudon against a Clink.
I mean, Tom said a Modron of the DM. The thing says a Modron of the DM's choice, so you never know. I could just bring like the God Modron.
Except the God is not a Modron. Modrons are, by definitions, just normal people.
Bring in the Gadron.
But we already have a Gadron.
Gadron versus Gadron. Who's gonna win?
There's the real reveal. Gadron's part Modron.
Or maybe the Gadron is just Gadron, but a full Modron. It's like the alternate reality Gadron.
Oh,
allow me to add to that theory. No.
Oh yeah, since Klein didn't pass while we're in there, I don't have to update Kai's alcohol counter for how long he can't be drunk for.
Oh god. No, it just means that you're gonna have to not be drunk for longer.
I still want if Kai
you left the library and that's the end of the session. So.
Yeah. If Kai actually finds out about if Kai actually finds out about like not being able to drink, I think my plan is just to have him just march up to like the biggest guy at the tavern and be like, "Yo, I'll take you on a drinking contest. Wager 500 gold on it."
And the bartender
I'm pretty sure it's run out by now.
No, it hasn't. It was 30 days, and I've been keeping track of each day as it went by.
Oh my god!
I have 16 days remaining.
You're more precise than I am, and I'm the DM.
This is a very important part of Kai's character.
For 30 days.
Yes.
This is what happens.
I really want him to find out and just like start really recklessly drinking, and then it just wears off.
Yeah, like the moment, like he's like the moment it wears off is when he drinks like a whole bottle of vodka.
Yeah, I really want.
And he just immediately just faints.
And that's when Gadron just slaps him silly, just like, "What are you doing?"
I feel that's kind of like. I feel like that's also going to be me on Friday when I go to a pub.
All right, I'll be seeing you guys next Saturday for the next session.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.